Opening week is upon us, and the Chicago Bears face off against the Green Bay Packers in week one. Jaquan Brisker makes his thoughts on the Packers very well known. We're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk about who has the most to prove in the week one against the Green Bay Packers. And Tyreek Stevenson listed as one of the favorites to win Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. And it's opening week, and the Chicago Bears face off against the hated Green Bay Packers, and I cannot wait for this game. This season just has a bit of a different feel, a bit of a different expectations around it. I think just kind of everything around this team coming into this game, where there are still tons of questions that need to be answered, and we'll talk about that a little bit as far as like players that have things to prove, things like that. But like this is like really kicking off a season. And while last year was the official kickoff of the new era of the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles is really even more so than last offseason put his imprint on this team, and we're seeing what type of team him and Matt Eberflus want this franchise to be. And as we move forward into that, it just brings a lot of excitement. We have so many new faces or young faces, first and second year players that are going to be playing big roles for the Chicago Bears in this upcoming year. And one of those players is Jaquan Brisker. Now, Jaquan Brisker proved himself in many ways last season, playing 15 games last season, being one of the players that was just a difference maker, right? And he's evolving as a leader of this defense, and we're just seeing Jaquan Brisker mature in front of our eyes and turn into a player that many people are hoping and expecting to be a Chicago Bear for a long time and be a big factor in whatever winning the Chicago Bears do. Well, he made his feelings quite known when it comes to the Green Bay Packers yesterday, saying this: "I'm itching. I'm waiting. It's Packers week, so I know it's going to be live. People hate Green Bay. I hate Green Bay. I can't wait. They didn't get to see me last year. They're going to get to see me this year." And so this is around all the questions around Jaquan Brisker and if his availability for week one, which Matt Eberflus, has pointed to, he's progressing correctly. We know that tomorrow, Wednesday, is going to be a big day for Jaquan Brisker in that decision if he's going to play in week one or not. But like just this new age of the Chicago Bears, right? Them understanding how important this Green Bay matchup is to Bears fans, right? We saw Justin Fields talk about it last year, right? Now seeing players like Jaquan Brisker and the other players really set that tone to understand that it's not just football when it comes to Chicago Bears fans versus Green Bay Packers fans. It's deeper than that. Yeah, like, we're going to talk our stuff. We're going to have all of it. Do not be surprised if you guys see some Packers fans in the comments of this channel leading up to week one. And I'm sure some of you guys are over on whatever whack-ass Packers podcast there is, giving them shit as well. It's different, right? And it's funny because like some of the people closest to me, my cousins that I look at like brothers, are Packers fans, right? And so like it's just different. Like the Green Bay Chicago Bears rivalry, for people who are lifelong Bears fans, it's just different. And we've been on the losing end of it more times than not over the last decade, right? And so we want things to go, but like when you look at how things are matching up with us in the Green Bay Packers, the fact that they have their next quarterback that they hope to be their quarterback of the future in Jordan Love, right? And they have him, and him and Justin Fields could be battling each other for the next however long, right? For years and years to come, hopefully. And this is the first matchup of that. Yeah, I wanted to see the Chicago Bears completely mollywop the Green Bay Packers while Aaron Rodgers was still the quarterback there. Everybody doesn't get what they want. But at the end of the day, it comes down to this. Bears fans are tired of losing the Packers. And while I've seen it, and I see, Jordan Love's going to be your new dad. First of all, that weasel motherfucker can't be nobody's daddy. Ain't nobody getting knocked up by that motherfucker. Nonetheless, right? When it comes down to it, I want to see the Chicago Bears completely demolish Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in week one. But they're going to have to come out and prove it. And while Jaquan Brisker setting the tone a little bit with his comments and what he said, there are a lot of Bears fans that are going to have to answer questions in week one against the Green Bay Packers. And first up is Justin Fields, right? Not just because it's the Packers, but because some of the doubt that your own fan base has around you. I see you guys in the comments saying things like, well, Justin Fields can't complete a forward, all the idiotic shit, right? But when it comes down to it, it's this. Justin Fields has tons that he still has to prove at the NFL level, right? Not even getting to the Tyson Bagent and part of it all, but like Justin Fields as what how he views himself has a lot to prove. Justin Fields, in the way that he's talked and communicated what he wants to be to this Bears franchise and set records, he has to come out in week one and perform. And I don't just mean being a game manager, right? Justin Fields has to show that big game making mentality and ability that he has, the big playmaking, I should say, ability that he has. And we've heard a lot of confidence from Bears coaches when it comes to Justin Fields. They think that Justin Fields has such a control over this offense that he's displayed in training camp that they would be surprised if he doesn't display that in week one, right? This offense, while I have had I'm very optimistic about it. I do think Luke Getsy has kept the playbook, constricted purposely because it's been preseason, as he should. But this Bears team has a lot to prove on the offensive side of the ball, and it all starts with Justin Fields and his ability. Now, he needs things in front of him, right? He needs to be protected, and the interior offensive line has a lot to prove as well in protecting Justin Fields and the offensive line as a whole. We hear that Nate Davis is going to be ready to go. Matt Eberflus's recent comments that, they're not really worried about him missing week one. He should be ready to go. But listen, this offensive line got Justin Fields sacked a ridiculous amount of times, over 50 times last season. Yes, this is a different offensive line now, but they carry that stigma from the offensive line that they had before. And while we have injury concerns and all that around it, this offensive line is another big question mark that they need to answer and show that they can protect Justin Fields and give him the time that he needs to go through those progressions, to be a better quarterback instead of just a big playmaker on top of that. And then this wide receiver core, right? Yes, DJ Moore is what a lot of people are looking at as a surefire thing, and rightfully so. He's earned that. But how this receiving core, how the secondary receivers in this lineup perform is going to be highly important to everything else as well. Yeah, you have a player with DJ Moore and the gravity that he brings. And nobody can deny that DJ Moore brings a ton of gravity that is going to make the game easier on people. But the rest of the wide receivers, and Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney, Tyler Scott, EQ St. Brown, everybody got something that they need to prove that they can be weapons and hold on to the goddamn football for Justin Fields as well. Look at Khalil Herbert. Is he that true number one running back, or is he just somebody holding that place for the young rookie Roschon Johnson? Hell, Roschon and Dante Foreman got stuff to prove as well. There are question marks and things to prove all up and down this offense. And Cole Kmet, right? You got your money now. You are locked in. You showed a lot of promise last year. Can you take that next step that I think of you, and I want to see you be mentioned in some of the best, as one of the best names, the best tight ends in the game of football? I think you have that potential. But that's something that he needs to show and prove as well. Tons of questions all over the offense. And when you look at the defense as well, right, how's that linebacking core going to shape up? While veterans, with Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, and you expect to what they're going to bring, but as a unit, right, how do they help that to contain that running game, which are our interior defensive line as well? Another questions, our ability to get to the quarterback consistently, other questions that we need to answer, right? There are players that need to come into this game, and they need to prove in this game, because of the meaning, how much meaning it has to Bears fans, that they are going in the right direction. Am I expecting everything to be answered in week one against the Green Bay Packers? Hell no. There's going to be times that we go through struggles. There's going to be times that we look like a team that, has to improve and has to come together, especially with how the lack of continuity that we've been able to have through the preseason with the injuries that we've had. You need to come out and prove it, start proving it, and start trending in that right direction, right? Jaquan Brisker, the secondary overall, confident in that secondary, but they need to continue to show to show in the regular season that they can be relied on, and that they're going to bring that much needed ferocity that we expect them to have. This secondary, I look at the Chicago Bears as a secondary that is going to be formidable and can be damn near one of the better ones with potential, right? But Tyreek Stevenson, a player that is going to get picked on, and he's going to get picked on early and often in this NFL season to start. How does he go through those growing pains? Kyler Gordon had to go through it last year, right? Braxton Jones had to go through it last year. Rookies have to go through it. Darnell Wright's going to go through it as well this year, being a much needed part and a cog in this defense that is a big cog, a big part of it. Tyreek Stevenson got those questions in front of him as well. And, Tyreek Stevenson listed as one of the favorites to potentially win the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. He was listed with Jalen Carter out in Philly, who's, there's some things that came out about it that make it even more, point towards why the Chicago Bears passed him up. But Jalen Carter, Tyreek Stevenson, Will Anderson Jr., listed as the favorites, right, as of coming into the season to win the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen, right? But that's why people are looking at Tyreek Stevenson. You are stepping into a starter spot, and you have veterans around you. You also have Kyler Gordon that's going to be playing in the slot there. You have other players around there that are going to be looking at you and what you can bring. And so Tyreek Stevenson steps into a situation where he's immediately going to be picked on. He's going to be needed. Everybody's going to be watching him. He's had some mistakes with, the discipline there and getting penalties, things like that. All those things are going to be spotlight and maximized even more in week one because of who we're playing. And so a lot of questions there around Tyreek Stevenson as well. So, overall, this team going into week one against the Green Bay Packers, if you guys can't tell, I'm extremely excited. And I have high expectations when it comes to this team. But it all starts in week one on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. And so we're going to be bringing you guys content over the course of the week. You're going to have all three of us again tomorrow on Wednesday. But listen, the content don't stop. The Bears hopefully won't stop. And we are marching our way to Soldier Field to get ready to take down these cheeseheads in week one. Let me know your guys' expectations. What are some of the players that you think have to step up the most in week one against the Green Bay Packers? Let me know all that down below. If you're on the podcast side, I'll tell you how to get your thoughts in here in a second. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for our mailbag episodes that go down Fridays and Saturdays. Fridays and Saturdays. Listen, it's been a long weekend. I'm all discombobulated, but the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.